I show 5 films in Venice already, but I show 7 films in Cannes, and I show the films in Berlin, in Mar del Plata, in San Sebastian, many different festivals. So one would say I am a festival animal. It's a good atmosphere here, you know. It's this is still the festival where films are the most important, not the business, not the connections, not the all the games people play. But here we are still talking about art, about the cinema.
This year on Venice Film Festival we have Serbian filming competition. It's Na Mliječnom putu on the Milky Way. This is by our most famous director Emir Kusturica, and this is Serbian, English and USA production. This is film that we waiting a long time, so we have high hopes. Leading character, it's actually played by Emir Kusturica and Monica Bellucci, so Venice is the right place to start with this movie.
Yeah, so we were actually in the past documentary filmmakers, and the building stones of our feature films, a lot of these building stones come up from reality. And for King of the Belgians, one of them was this eruption of this Icelandic volcano several years ago, and a lot of people were stuck in Istanbul. And one of them was the president of Estonia. He was a cover story of the New York Times. He was stuck in Istanbul and really for some reason had to go back to Tallinn, to Estonia. And they bought a little bus, and against all odds and all against protocol, they drove through the Balkans back to Estonia. And we thought this idea of this journey, you know, of a president or a royal through the Balkans, unexpected and unprepared, was very inspiring for our story. We replaced then the volcano by a solar storm, because solar storms may have a significant impact on communication, so you can't fly, your phones don't work. So actually the people are incognito, but also without connection to the rest of the world during a few days in the Balkans.
Bulgaria was for us a very natural location to shoot, because the Odyssey of the King starts in Istanbul and he crosses into Bulgaria first. The National Film Center there has solid resources and is really eager to co-produce with other countries in Europe. And we looked at the landscape of financing in the entire region, and that was the most promising. We also have a history with Sofia Meetings, a great meeting point for producers and for the industry that's in parallel to the Sofia Film Festival, which has shown our work. So we already had a bit of a history, we knew the people personally, and the financing efforts there went quickly forward, and we received the maximum amount we could for an international co-production from the Bulgarians. And then we had to look at the landscapes and say, how much could we shoot here? We wanted naturally to shoot the maximum amount of locations to save costs in one territory. And in the end, indeed, we managed to find locations that would pass for Serbia, that would pass for Montenegro and even Albania, and the Adriatic, which was shot on the Black Sea. So we found all of our solutions there. Centralizing it saved time and a lot of money. And to keep the co-production more streamlined, we didn't need to look further. Holland came into the co-production, and 3 countries is already complex enough, and it was sufficient to shoot.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
And action. Belgium. Is it a proper country or just some geopolitical compromise? I don't know. But it does have a palace, and they hired me to make a promotional documentary about the king.
It will be my great honor to personally deliver this symbol of Brussels to your great city of Istanbul.
See you. but breaking news was on its way.
La Wallonie a déclaré son indépendance.
Pardon?
La Belgique a éclaté.
It's a good question. Everything started like 4 years ago, and actually it started in Venice. Although we had some conversation with Jessica and Peter by email, because I met the producer who started the film in Cannes the same year, but basically I met them in Venice here at Quattro Fontane. We had the first meeting, they were having interviews there, so that was the first real thing. We talked, we liked each other, we understood we were talking the same language, and I knew their previous films very well, Cada Altiplano in the 5th season, and I adored them. So because I really find Jessica and Peter one of the few directors with strong vision nowadays, which is not so often. And it's funnily enough, 4 years later we meet in Venice with the film completed, premiering at the official selection of the festival, which is a very good feeling.
Since we had a more or less clear idea what to be the locations, and since the script was developed well enough to be ready for applications in the funds, we applied to the Bulgarian National Film Center, and we got 160,000 euros from them, which was a great support, and it made it possible this film to be a real co-production with Bulgaria. Not only they to use the services, what Bulgarian professionals and locations could offer, and it is a real co-production in all possible levels.
All flights are grounded due to a cosmic disturbance.
I must get home to Belgium immediately.
It is not possible.
Mr. Roy, please.
Hoe staat het met onze vlucht?
Geen vlucht hier, maar wel een vluchtplan.
Mr. Lloyd comes with his camera. We will capture our journey back home for the people. Point final.
Let's face it, history was in the making here.
Thank you very much.
Oh, Zineri. Maybe you don't know your country kaput.
Nicholas, sauces for kebab.
I was here like 4 years before with Peter and Jessica, the directors of The King of the Belgians, and they were here in the official competition with La 5e saison, the 5th season, and I had a really small part in it, like 2 days of shooting, and it was like 4 years ago that we shot it. And then they asked me, we would like to that I played the king in their new story. And so here we are 4 years later, again in this festival. So it's a big gift to be here with the world premiere of King of the Belgians. It was a Bulgarian-Dutch-Belgian co-production, so it was a Bulgarian team, and they were very nice. They were really very nice people. So spending a lot of time in Bulgaria, like in totally 6 weeks from home, it was like for all of us a really magical journey.
It was my very first time in Bulgaria. We stayed there for 6 weeks, and actually in Bulgaria we shoot all the trip through the Balkans. So in Bulgaria we filmed Macedonia, Bulgaria, Albania, Serbia. So we recreate all those countries in Bulgaria.
My mainly impression is the kindness of people. Everywhere I was, the man is not like we think in Belgium. You know, we have a strange impression over the east end of Europe. And we don't see the difference between Romania, Bulgarian, and when I come there, the kindness of people is very impressive for me.